Irvine Partners. Mohale, thank you so much for your time. Welcome to The Upside. I want to start off with this Alabuga scandal, which has sent shockwaves through the global influencer space. What was your reaction when you first heard about it? And did it shock you as much as it shocked us on the ground?
Hi there. Thank you for having me on. So my initial reaction was one of, oh, wait, this is actually a really big deal, because ultimately it affects trust. And trust is the whole creator economy ecosystem. It's what it's built on.
Yeah.
We can't engage audiences authentically or have brands spend their money with creators if the trust element isn't there. So I think what's important as people who work in this creator economy, whether it's from a brand point of view, from an agency point of view, from even a platform point of view, that we need to work together and improve our vetting processes so that people don't end up promoting harmful campaigns. It's also on us to help content creators, support them with the right digital tools, upskilling and education, so that they know how to vet a campaign, so that they see themselves as part of the ecosystem and not just someone who makes a post for a brand.
Mohale, I would imagine that a scandal of this magnitude would, I don't know if reshape is the word, but really just rattle the space of, you know, how content creators do what they do. So how do we then balance that? How do we balance the freedom of expression and the freedom to do whatever it is that we want to do under our own accounts, and also exercising some responsibility with what we're doing to protect audiences from harmful and misleading campaigns?
So you're right. Freedom of expression is a very important principle. It's what drives the internet and social media economies as well. But that shouldn't absolve people from having responsibility for what we put online.
Yeah.
That, for me, the answer comes down to sort of having formal standards. And there are bodies across the continent that have actually done this work, whether you look at Nigeria's Advertising Regulatory Council, or if you look at the Interactive Advertising Bureau, they've worked in South Africa to create a content creator charter. And this is sort of a thing that creators can work in and sign up on. And the power of this is that it gives a framework for what is acceptable, what are good standards to uphold. I think we should remember that content creators are working at the forefront of actually what is the marketing economy, what is the communication space. But that also means they're working in this undefined space in some sense. They don't have the same level of regulation and oversight as traditional media, say, or advertisers, for example. But that is still in development. It's one of those spaces where regulation is still catching up to innovation, and we need to support that as an industry in terms of developing a framework where creators know what is a good standard and what is not a good standard to uphold.
It is 19 minutes after 1 p.m. Central African time. The creator economy in Africa really cannot afford to repeat the mistakes of the Alabuga scandal. We are currently in conversation with Mohale Moloi, content director at Irvine Partners, to unpack the significance of this scandal and how we can safeguard, not just as creators, as content creators, but agencies as well, to protect the audiences. We continue the conversation right after this.
Get Channel Africa on DSTV Audio Bouquet. Channel 802.
Je, una jambo lolote akilini mwako? Je, una shauku kuhusu masuala muhimu? Na je, una maoni ambayo unataka yasikike? Kweli, hili jukwaa ni la kwako. Piga simu au tuandikie kwenda WhatsApp namba alama ya kujumulisha 2760552594 na tutakupigia simu.
Mtangazaji wa habari zetu za Afrika Kusini mjini Johannesburg.
Hivyo unaweza kuwa mshirika kwenye matangazo yetu. Sio mazungumzo tu, ni fursa yako ya kuchangia maoni yako na kushirikiana na jumuiya ya wasikilizaji wanaotamani mtazamo wako. Tufuate kwenye mitandao ya kijamii. Tembelea tovuti yetu www.channelafrica.co.za na uwe tayari kushiriki na kuchangia maoni yako kwenye Channel Africa. Channel Africa, mtazamo wa Kiafrika.
The Upside, 1 to 4 p.m. Central African Time with Tebogo Lekhuleni and Mmatsheko Mosito. Only on Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Well, let's continue our conversation with Mohale Moloi, Content Director at Irvine Partners, about the effects that the Alabuga scandal has made on the creator industry in Africa, and why we need to safeguard against such campaigns to protect everyone involved, including the audiences at home who are watching and consuming this content. Mohale, you mentioned regulations and policies that need to come to the party and need to catch up to the innovations and the digital transformation that we find ourselves in. Let's talk about some practical steps that influencers can take to vet opportunities before signing any deal.
Yeah, thank you for that question. I think it's quite important for influencers, firstly, before giving steps on what they should do, because creators work in an abundance of industries, from food to motoring to travel. So it's hard to be really prescriptive. But I think a good starting point is for creators to actually see themselves as a vital part of the marketing and PR ecosystem. Their credibility is their most valuable asset. And it's a really good idea to guard that with everything that they have. So once you see yourself in this position as not just a person who posts content, but a person who enables brands to reach different audiences in an authentic manner, then you actually can come at it with that understanding. And I like to use the term creatorpreneur, because what I view these people actually doing is creating online businesses, whether it is just for them to market their content as a brand, or whether it's for them to give people recommendations and show them the latest tech and how to use it in different ways, or just show them the best spots for pepper soup and jollof rice. They should see themselves as business owners, and that outlook will help them with emphasizing things like vetting, because we know that an irresponsible promotion could cause irreparable harm to your career. So it's ultimately that recognition that you are a business and that you are a brand in yourself, and that you've got to have processes in place that enable you to do work that is actually impactful for your followers and for yourself as a brand.
I really want to stay on that, on the regulation as well, because I think that's just so important. So, I mean, you of course did mention that we need to catch up, as Tebogo had also mentioned, but I'm thinking, what would a formal accountability structure look like then, Mohale? Let's be imaginative for a second. What does that look like? A formal accountability structure, particularly for creators on the African continent, if you really consider how much money this creatorpreneur space, as you deem it, is making so much money. It's creating waves, it's influencing, it's shaping perceptions, it's doing so many things at once. So what would a structure look like, firstly, and also how can we then incorporate things like skills training for social media content creators as well within that very structure?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. I am hesitant to be too prescriptive on what a structure should look like. But I think the point that needs to be made is that there's room for greater collaboration between influencers, between brands who are in the industry, between platforms as well, and actors like ourselves as agencies. So there's a role that we can all play in sort of building a platform where we come together, where we share data and share information on what is shaping the industry, and also then work with bodies that already exist, bodies that are already doing the research and the work here in order to put those structures in place. So I wouldn't want to be too prescriptive on what the structure should be, but I also, to your second point, think that there is already good work happening on the continent when it comes to upskilling content creators, when it comes to making sure that they understand how to read and vet a contract, for example, when it comes to making sure that they have access, which is another important point that we at Irvine Partners have been working on, right? So an element that we've noticed as a gap is that you often need to know someone who knows someone in order to get a brand deal or in order to monetize your content. But how about we work on digital platforms that open up this ecosystem, make it easier for creators to be able to apply to brands and campaigns that they would like to work on themselves. That way they're empowered, right? Because we know as a continent, there is challenges when it comes to employment. but how do we get them empowered so that there are fewer gatekeepers in the way and they've got access to applying for a campaign and not necessarily relying on knowing the right person in order to get access to an opportunity.
Mohale, let's talk about the work that you do at Irvine Partners, some of your offerings, especially for influencers, content creators who are listening in right now and they want to partner up with the reputable agencies.
Yes, so we are a creative communications agency based all over Africa, actually, and we also have presence in the United Kingdom and Germany. The work we do is really all about getting brands to communicate across these different markets. And we understand that we need to come at that with a very nuanced point of view, as the culture in Accra is going to be very different from the culture in Lagos, and so different to the culture in Nairobi. So we work with a range of content creators across the continent to actually develop those messages and deliver them authentically. So what sets us apart really in this space is that we've collaborated with a platform called Dream Influence. And this is what I was alluding to earlier in terms of being able to open up the industry, because creators can visit this platform, they can see what campaigns we have on the go, apply to be a part of them, but also get to understand the nitty-gritties of contracts and the deliverables that they are required to, should they be selected for a campaign, work on them. So we've done this work in order to open up the industry in this certain way, but we also believe that there's room for growth, there's room for more work. As we carry on collaborating with creators, how do we bring them into and better understanding how the ecosystem works, empowering them with the right skills, should they need, to grow their businesses themselves and actually carry on delivering those messages in an authentic way. Yeah.
Okay. It sounds progressive. It sounds like we really are well on our way to getting to, because as I understand it, the industry is currently sitting at 3 billion as you and I speak, and it's projected to reach 18 billion by the year 2030. Just on that note, as we wrap up, Mohale, talk to us about how do you see content creation evolving by that time?
So yes, those are really exciting statistics over the next 5 years. To see that much growth just means that more and more audiences are engaging with content online. They're engaging with creators who look like them, who sound like them, who understand the nuance of what it is like to live in their city. So this also means that I think the creator economy will keep growing. I think brands will have even closer collaborations with content creators. And that will also deepen the relationships they have, where creators aren't just, affiliate marketing promoters. They become actual ambassadors for that brand in an authentic way, right? Because the other thing about the online economy is your followers can see when something isn't necessarily resonate with the content that you already have. So I view the creator economy growing, yes, according to the statistics, but with further empowerment, with further skills training. We really do see a world where our phones are already the new sort of digital billboards, but these creators can also be the entrepreneurs and the superstars, really, of the future.
Mohale, how can we get in touch with Irvine Partners? And are you active on social media yourself? Perhaps you can share your social media handle.
I am active on social media, but I'm not a content creator myself. We have several teams who work very closely hand in hand with content creators. And that also means we live their lifestyle. We understand events, we go to events with them, we understand the struggles that they face in terms of, some months you could invoice for a certain amount and other months you might not be able to. But get in touch with Irvine Partners through our website. We are irvinepartners.com. It's the easiest way. And you can also look us up on social media. So yes, I work with a team that does a lot of this work on the ground. And I'm just not the most public person on my social media. But you should definitely get in touch if it's something that you see opportunities to grow or areas where you would like to collaborate with brands as well.
Amazing. Mohale, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Mohale Moloi, Content Director at Irvine Partners, telling us that we need to safeguard our creator economy. And we can't let scandals like the Alabuga scandal, tank this economy. It's a growing economy. very, very quickly on the African continent, creating so many opportunities, but we need to have accountability and be safe when we are posting and when we are consuming the content. It's 30 minutes after 1 p.m. Central African time. Let's get the latest sports with Musibudi Makura.
Sports.